Several Oklahoma Sooners are making a name for themselves in fall camp. Who's trending towards significant playing time this fall?
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. You can check out his channel over on YouTube, Unfair Sports. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire at USA Today Sports. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. On today's show, the Oklahoma Sooners were left out of the USA Today coaches poll for the first time in 25 years. We'll discuss that in the third segment. Coming up in the second segment, we got more injuries in Oklahoma fall camp. Is it time to panic? We'll discuss that coming up. But first, let's start with some positive news, Jay. There are several Oklahoma Sooners that are making a name for themselves so far in fall camp. Who's standing out and who's trending towards some significant playing time?
The media got an opportunity to spend, 30 minutes-ish at the beginning of practice today to be able to watch some one-on-one drills. They got to see some, individual drills and everything. And so we had some players that stood out. Like one on the defensive side of the ball, it sounds like Courtland Gillery is one that's starting to really make a name for himself. The true freshman is a player that you got to keep your eyes on. It's no surprise that he is special. We heard about him in spring camp, and we heard that he was starting to trend, like he was starting to step up, and yet kid's a dog. And the reason being is, he was really underrated. He was a 3-star prospect, and he's been out there to prove everybody wrong, all the doubters wrong against him. And he wants to show everybody that he is definitely day one, day two talent. And so he's looking good in some drills. And then also, John, man, beyond between Keontes Lewis as well as Elijah Thomas on some of those catches on the sideline, I think we're safe in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, Courtland Gillery, he was a 4-star prospect. He was a blue chip guy over at 247 Sports and had some significant offers. Texas, Tennessee teams coming after him, Texas A&M, Missouri, Kansas, Arizona, Arizona State, Houston. I mean, he had national offers across the country, and this was somebody that Texas A&M and Texas didn't want leaving the state, but Oklahoma was able to land him. And it's not often that you see true freshmen be able to step out early in their careers and show that they're ready to play. But we saw it last year with Eli Bowen. Now we're seeing it with Courtland Gillery. Everybody's been talking about him. Brent Venables talked about him at SEC Media Days. He's continued to talk about him at OU Fall Camp. And it seems like he just continues to stand out, and you need somebody to step up right. You have Gentry Williams that's healthy, and it sounds like everything's progressing well for him to play in fall camp, or to play this fall even. But with the injury history, you need to have some secondary options in the secondary so that you have a little bit more security, and you need guys having that steady drumbeat of consistency through fall camp so that you can rely upon them in games this fall. And so Courtland Gillery standing out, that's huge. Yeah, I think Keontes Lewis, man, that's been one of those names that's kind of flown under the radar because there's been so much talk about Giovanni Gibson and Deion Burks and Isaiah Satania, and we're anticipating the return of Jaden Gibson. Keontes Lewis has just kind of done his work and done his job and just constantly been about his business. But John Mateer called him a dog. And I know your quarterback's always going to talk up your wide receivers. At the same time, there are so many wide receivers to talk about, but Keontes Lewis just seems to consistently be making plays out there when people are getting the opportunity to see him.
Yeah, he's showing us that he wants that spot. We know that Giovanni Gibson is still getting healthy, and some of the players mentioned him as well in the interviews. I know John Mateer and a couple of players had mentioned that, Giovanni, when he gets back, watch out. I think it's Devon Jordan had also mentioned him, but Keontez is one that's trying to, K-Lou is what they call him. He's trying to figure out and carve his own place into this team. And hey, that diving catch he made in the back of the end zone that they got a recording of was beautiful. His toe was in when he had possession of the ball. So it was like, wait, did he make the catch? He made the catch. That's the stuff that has been said by some of the players that's what you're seeing out of him in practice on a regular basis. He is doing those type of plays. And so I know that he had kind of his journey in college football has been one of those kind of players where you typically would avoid. Been to 4 different schools, roughly in 4 years. Spent time at UCLA, Wisconsin, and then Southern Illinois. But his thing was the journey was mainly with a lot of coaching changes, and he's just one of the players that did not fall into favor as a new coach was coming in to replace the old. And so for him, he finally got his footing at Southern Illinois. It's got to be there for 2 years and start to put up some numbers. And so now it appears that he's ready to go back to the D1 status and or P4 status and show everybody that he's got that skill set. I think, John, outside of that, man, watching the big boys go through some drills, you saw a little bit of David Stone, you saw a little bit of the O-line. It was kind of fun seeing them move around, and now we have an idea what to anticipate.
Well, we've got some really good interior defensive linemen, and
yeah, we do.
What's interesting is that excuse me, I'm sorry, I took the day off and now I can't talk anymore, y'all. The depth is really intriguing. You know, watching a guy like Trent Wilson go up against Fabechi Wiwu in a one-on-one drill. He didn't win the drill, but he was competitive. He showed the toughness. The physicality is not going to be too much for him when he gets to the SEC level. And I know people want to talk about Fabechi Wiwu as a guy that's not very good. Well, he got better as the season went along, if we're being for real. So that's a player that, listen, he has played 4 years of college football, going into his 4th year of college football. Trent Wilson has been in college for 9 months. And when you see a veteran going up against a true freshman, a senior going up against a true freshman, and yes, the senior got the better of him, but the true freshman wasn't intimidated, didn't back down, was toe-to-toe with him in the physicality standpoint, that's a positive sign. That's a dude that can continue to develop, and he's going to be somebody that you can actually use in your rotation because he's not going to get bullied. And that a lot of times is the biggest difference between the high school and the college ranks is you're making a significant jump in the physicality level. The guys that you're playing against in high school, you might play against one dude that's 320 pounds your entire senior year of high school. You might not play against anybody over 300 pounds in your senior year of high school. So to make that jump and to go toe-to-toe and not back down from the physicality, that's huge, man. And I think it's promising. Whether he breaks into the rotation for Oklahoma at defensive tackle will remain to be seen, but it's encouraging, man, to see what he's been able to at least show early in his career at Oklahoma.
Yeah, you want to have a young player that'll go after a vet, and it was one-on-one drills. It's not one of those. It wasn't instead of a scheme or any type of sets or anything where you need to do anything fancy. It was just brute force versus brute force, and like you said, Weiwu improved dramatically as the season progressed. You saw that he, for the most part, belonged where he was. He belonged on that line. He played the entire season. He was the one dude that played every single snap for the most part this year. Like, he was in every single game. He started every game, and he was available. And the best ability is still availability. And heck, he was what, SEC Offensive Player of the Week 1 week or something like that. He was recognized. And now, granted, they used the worst possible video you could use for a guy, but he was one against an Alabama game. He was moving furniture. And so you're happy to see that the young guy can get out there and put some force in, but you saw the senior anchor down and keep him from pushing him too far along. But Trent Wilson's going to be a problem for years to come. I'm excited to see him and Brian Harris, the 2026 that's out there doing similar stuff while he's playing. And so, we got some good stuff. We also saw some nice routes ran by one tight end, Caden Helms. He had a nice little move on Amarion Robinson. So you're like, okay, that knee looks like it's in a good spot. Can't beat that. Same thing with Jacob Jordan. You saw some good route running. You saw some really good defense as well. And some guys got open. You got to see some defenders knock down some passes. It was actually fun watching a lot of those drills, and it makes you feel comfortable that the competition truly is there.
Yeah, there's a lot more competition this year. And the thing about the one-on-one drills, especially when it's wide receiver or tight end versus defensive back or linebacker, is those drills are kind of set up for the offensive player to succeed.
Yeah, for the most part.
defensive players, they play within a system. You play understanding, okay, I might be in one-on-one coverage right now, but here's where my help is. And that's where I'm going to shade, or this is what I'm expecting in this formation. So I'm going to shade my coverage one way or the other. When you're heads up one-on-one, it's all for the offense. And the fact that those defensive backs and linebackers are actually making some plays on the ball, that's encouraging. And you see guys like Elijah Thomas, you see guys like Zion Kearney, and you mentioned Jacob Jordan. There's a lot of wide receivers that are making plays. This is not going to be a year in which the wide receivers that are getting out on the field are only getting on the field because that's all you got. No, the wide receivers that are getting on the field are going to be wide receivers that earned the opportunity to be on the field this year as opposed to last year. So big difference. We had more injuries come up in fall camp. Football's a physical game. Don't panic. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. Ever wish managing your money felt easier with Monarch Money? It can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. When my wife and I started using Monarch Money, we were able to track exactly what we were spending all of our money on and see where we could cut back. And man, the fast food purchases, with a busy summer with the kids out of school and going on vacations and things like that, we saw, man, that fast food budget was really eating us up. So we're trying to really scale back on all that, make sure we're cooking at home more and planning our trips a little bit better with snacks and sandwiches and stuff from home. So we're not having to hit up the fast food restaurants near as much. And that's where we're going to be able to save some money. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year over at monarchmoney.com. Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I know as we start this segment, Oklahoma fans are already going through it. I have to battle my own concerns and my own internal thoughts, my intrusive thoughts about what happened last year and not letting that cloud how I'm feeling about this year. But Oklahoma's dealing with some things on the injury front. We already know Eli Bowen is not available right now in fall camp. One surprise, though, Jay, Grayson Halton hasn't practiced yet. I guess he's battling a hamstring injury, and that's a little bit of a surprise. Thankfully, you have a pretty nice set of defensive tackles that you can deploy in his stead. But how concerned are you about a Grayson Halton not being available just yet?
I'm not at all, because mainly it's the beginning of fall camp. So a lot of them are, they're going to have some bumps, some bruises. They dealt with a little, they're getting their bodies into the game shape. They're going from practice shape and training and lifting shape into actual game shape, which is, you got to take some hits, got to build up some calluses to where your body can actually handle those hits. I've actually remember hearing NFL guys talk about that. And that was probably what an interesting thing is that that's what the preseason did for a lot of them, as well as going through fall camps, was it helped their bodies to build up a resistance to the hits that they're taking. Because remember, as you're sitting out for months from football, your body is, everything is healing up fully. You don't have that extra layer of skin that's been beat up that's helped insulating you, going forward. And so we're at that camp, at that part of the camp. This is what happens. Beginning of fall camp, everybody's dealing with some stuff. You saw Texas backup tackle, unfortunately, is gone for the season. It sucks. I hate when any player gets hurt, regardless if they're a rival or not. That's no bueno. Knock on wood, we're not dealing with anything like that. But you're going to have some players with bumps and bruises. Deion Burks is still dealing with a little lingering thing from last season, but the main thing for him is they want to make sure that it's precautionary and that he's healthy. Gentry, luckily, is practicing. He's probably not tackling very hard right now because they want to make sure that they don't unnecessarily injure him when they don't have to. Your running backs, X-Rob as well as Taylor Tatum, I know are taking some treatment. Same thing with Grayson Halton. He's sitting out kind of with the hammy, but he's taking treatment. But this is common. We dealt with some of this stuff last year too, and players came back. The only spots you didn't see people come back was, wide receiver room for the most part. And then you start to see injuries actually pile up on the line. Happens. It's okay. Relax. The good thing is that we've got a lot more depth that's going to be able to help. You got to see Dominic as well as Jaden Jackson out there. You saw David Stone. I think Nigel Smith went through drills now that Grayson Halton's a little bit on the shelf, which is a good thing. You want to see the big boy make some moves and see how well he's moving with that extra weight that he's put on. But yeah, I wouldn't be stressed out about it, Sooner fans. It's okay. The biggest thing for us right now is we've got to make sure everybody's refining their skills. Young players are getting some reps. Prepare for Illinois State.
I need my guy Grayson Halton out there, though. That's a guy that's coming off. He's coming off of a 5-sack season. I need to see him continue to improve and get ready for this season, dude. Like, there's so much riding on this year, and I get it. I like the defensive tackle depth. I need a dude that's got 5 sacks out there. I'll feel better if by week 1 he's ready to go. I'll feel better if by week 1 your cornerbacks are ready to go, that you've got some stability right now. But with everything that Oklahoma's gone through on the injury situation, Derek Simmons, he had to sit out of practice this weekend because apparently he got concussed. So you've got things happening. I'm not going to sit here and say that just right off the season, everything is terrible. I'm just saying it's not a great start to fall camp. I hear what you're saying, Jay, and that you got to build up the physicality, build up to what you're going to be experiencing in the fall. I remember when I was playing lacrosse back in college, I was a goalie. I was getting shots off my thigh all season long. Well, when I sat out from the summer or during fall ball, I wasn't getting hit near as much with those shots in the thigh. Come game 1 of the season, if I didn't have my callus built up, my bruises built up on the thigh, it was going to hurt a lot. Yeah. So I get where you're coming from on that. And you're going to have nagging stuff. You're going to have players sit out for precautionary reasons. NFL teams do it all the time in training camp as well. But any semblance of a lingering injury with anybody is going to create some concerning feelings among the fan base, among the media. It's going to be, well, here we go again, Jay. This is just same old Oklahoma Sooners. We just can't get out of our own way, or we're snake bitten, or the football gods hate us. Whatever it is, we need some positive injury news moving forward and less negative injury news. And as we see a guy like Caden Helms really step out and show that he might be ready for some significant playing time, there might be a setback that he's dealing with. Kendall Dolby, another guy that everybody's excited about. Our dude is one of the better defensive players on the team. You listen to a guy like Teddy Lehman talk about how he might be the best defensive player on the team, and he's got another nagging injury that he's dealing with. It's just where can Oklahoma catch a break?
In time, I promise you. Just, give the man some time.
He's got my timer.
Yes, it's timer. Give it some time. You'll hear more and more over the next couple of weeks, and you'll know if there's an actual concern or not. But no, we're not the only team that's dealing with people that's dealing with injuries. Heck, I just saw Baker Mayfield was dealing with some hand soreness with the Buccaneers fall camp. It happens.
No, not Bake.
Exactly, right? The world just came to an end. It's over.
I hate football.
Is done.
It's
okay. And I get everybody, like I said, I get the concerns, mainly because last year a lot of us have, a lot of you and us all have PTSD. Totally get it. My point is, let's relax and just wait it out, see what happens. We dealt with this too. We dealt this in 23. We dealt with stuff. We dealt with a little bit of people sitting out practice here and there, people getting their bell rung and getting taken out for a couple of days. We dealt with all of that. 23 season turned out well. It's just, just having that bad of a situation in the wide receiver room in 24 has got everybody all stressed out. And I think we'll be fine. You're going to have dudes rotating in and out. You're going to get guys that's going to play more often. Right now, it's like I said, that people are getting themselves into that game shape. And so got to get the proper stretching in. You got to get the proper conditioning in, drinking enough fluids. Make sure you don't get dehydrated because it is still hot. I mean, it's 90, but it's humid. John, it's still kind of gross. So I know that we're going to get past all of it. This too shall pass. And I think that even dealing with some of these injuries, the little nagging ones, like Dolby, I know is being held out. Him and Burks are being held out. They're heavily precautionary. the team and the staff is taking that stuff seriously. So yeah, you're not going to see a lot of them because they want to make sure that they're ready to play game one. They're in positions that they don't have to, they're going to take, like Burks is going to take hits, but if he does a good job of, twisting his body and falling, he won't take big ones. Dobie's going to be laying hits. They just got to get him ready to be hitting folks. The one thing that he loves to do, but he'll be probably playing a lot of outside corner, as BV mentioned. So he'll be, in coverage a lot more. He'll be throwing, blocking passes and stuff. So take some time. Grayson Halton's probably the one that he's going to be really building himself up probably in the next week or two. And we'll address this in 2 weeks. Let's do that.
Yeah, if we're still talking about Grayson Halton 2 weeks from now, we're going to freak out, Jay, because you don't have any other defensive tackle production to hang your hat on. You got a lot of potential, especially in the run game. It's pretty good, but pass rushing potential, you don't really have that unless somebody's going to break out this year, because you didn't get a lot of production from those guys last year other than Grayson Halton from the defensive tackle spot. All right, that's enough. I'm not going to doom it. I'm not going to be all doom and gloom completely. I'll wait. I'll sit back. I'll lay back. I'll let Jay tell me when it's time to panic. Okay. All right. Coaches poll, the Oklahoma Sooners were left out for the first time in 25 years. Is it time to panic? Coming up on Locked On Sooners.
Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy's new transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavors to your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. So let's be honest. Some days on the course, or like today, or off it, you need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. So for me, whenever I'm out there playing some golf and I hit one of the craziest shots, hit a tree. Yes, I hit trees quite often, but it bounced and went to the green. Hey, sometimes you get lucky. And honestly, you can't beat that. And golf is all about those good times with good people. I actually have witnesses of that too. I'm going to have to make sure they record something to talk about it. But good flavors, of course, also go into that mix. The grape, ginger, lime flavors gives you the best parts of your clubhouse to go without chasing the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to get 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used on other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So with football less than a month away, we've got the first USA Today coaches poll. Came out on Monday, and Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners were outside of the coaches poll, but they were the top vote getter. I don't mind this. I don't hate it. I think Oklahoma is getting a lot of respect nationally. Places like Joel Klatt on 3, like different power rankings have Oklahoma inside their top 25, but the coaches are taking a wait and see approach and telling Oklahoma to prove it. And that's where they need to be honest. You come off of a 6-7 season with all of the questions facing this team, and you don't need to be a top 25 team. You don't deserve to be a top 25 team. You have to go and show that you're a top 25 team.
Yeah. First time in 25 years, the coaches did not show Oklahoma any love.
No love.
I'm not that concerned about it. Like, everybody thinks that the coaches poll is a borderline joke anyway. It's usually handed to an intern or something like that is what everybody believes. I don't know. I don't know if the coaches actually sit there and say, I think this team is better than that team and this team is better than that team based upon all the film that I've watched on the teams that I'm probably not going to play. I don't know when it comes to that component of it, but I don't really see or care much about this coaches poll. I'm ready to see what the AP preseason poll really is going to look like. And that to me is the one that matters the most, which that should continue the streak for.
Why is that? Why do people care more about the AP than the coaches?
Because the AP is the one that determines the champion at the end of the year. That's the one that that everyone leverages when it comes to the playoff winning over a ranked team or not. That's the one that's used for all the metrics.
When did we give the AP that much power?
They've always had this much power. They've had this power from the day one. It's always been about who, from the quote unquote eye test, believes who's better than who. So, the coaches
gave themselves the power.
I mean, you could probably say that, but the reason the coaches poll isn't taken seriously because we know that the coaches aren't the ones doing it. So, why would I believe a poll from a coach that we, for the most part, know ain't watching film on teams that they ain't playing?
It's all perception because the media is not watching all 134 teams, 136 teams.
No, they're probably doing a better.
They're standings watching. They might be looking at some box scores. That is it.
I think they're looking more at rankings of the recruits is probably the thing that I think most of them use in regards to how the rosters are constructed. And then, of course, there's some coaching that gets a little bit of a bump here or there. Of course, there's multiple metrics or whatnot. I mean, think about us, the way that we would look at a team in comparison. Like, I'm looking at a team based upon the players that they have on the roster and the way that I know a coach has, led them into success or potentially lead them into success. Some coaches get the benefit of the doubt more than others. We all know that. Like, Brent Venables is getting zero benefit of the doubt, even though his defense has improved dramatically year over year, which is kind of why you hire a guy like him. He just hasn't had the best luck with offensive coordinators for the most part. Last season, because Levy was fine. Levy did some things. He wasn't perfect, but he was fine. And he got himself a head coaching job in the SEC. So obviously you were doing well with Jeff Levy. Heck, some people would say they would have been nice to have Jeff Levy last season. Whatevs. But the point is now that you've got another offensive coordinator who's young, innovative, you're hoping that he shows out, and becomes that dude that you're expecting. But yeah, it's the coaches. They have an intern. Like I said, they have an intern doing it. That's what we know. We at least know the media members are doing it because they'll stand on it and they'll defend some of their terrible picks.
Maybe I'm naive. I just think that the coaches should get a little bit more credit than maybe what we're giving them, just because, again, they're in the game, whether it's an intern that's doing it or the head coach that's doing it themselves. They're in the game. And so many times people look at media members and are like, what, the coaches are going to question what media members know about all this. It's the same questions we have for the college football playoff committee, right? At the end of the year, what do a bunch of, administrators know about college football? Like, anyway, who's underrated in that? Do you think, like, outside of Oklahoma, is there a team that wasn't ranked that you felt like should have been ranked?
I'm gonna be honest. When I looked at this poll, I'm just like, okay. I do think I think Michigan's actually a lot higher than I would have expected with what they've got going on. Alabama at 8, shocker. That was very much a shocking thing to me.
People love Alabama right now. Like, they love
their roster, man.
Loving Alabama.
Love that roster, man. They brought in so many players. They've done so much. People are in love with the potential that Alabama has. I'm really surprised that they weren't top 5.
So,
Kalen
DeBoer is great, though. So
yeah, I like Kalen DeBoer.
I could buy some Kalen DeBoer stock.
Yeah, I like Kalen
who's
DeBoer.
Overrated?
Ooh, overrated? I don't know if Miami's 10th, but people are sold on Carson Beck. Some of you are.
Carson Beck's an interesting dude. Like, I don't know if he's got it. You know what I mean? Good player, has the potential to put up some numbers, but there's just something not quite right. Like, he doesn't give me the right vibes to believe that he's capable of taking a team to a national title.
I can see that.
I look at, maybe a team like Oregon. Oregon is a good program, but they lost a lot. And in particular, they lost their starting quarterback that I think was the catalyst for their success last year in Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I agree. We got a lot of questions about Oregon. We got a lot of questions about Oregon. Same thing with Ole Miss.
Tennessee at 18? But hey, you know what? Be ranked. Stay ranked all year long, and then when Oklahoma beats you, that's perfect. I don't think Tennessee will stay ranked all year long. But Oklahoma will play 7 teams that are currently in the coach's top 25, and it'll start week 2 with Michigan. So Oklahoma gets an opportunity early on to at least prove to the coaches poll that they belong with that week 2 matchup. Anything else really stand out to you in that?
Florida, number 17. They also play 7 teams that are in this top. You also get number 1 versus number 2 to start the season, which is going to be very interesting to see. I think this is the first time in college football history the number 1 and number 2 teams played in the first week of the season.
And I'm not going to hate on Texas being number 1. That's where all the hype's at. It's coming off of back-to-back semifinal playoff appearances. You got the hypiest quarterback in the nation in Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian. A lot of people really respect what he's done out there. I probably would have flipped it. If I was going to rank them and you're ranking based on what have you done for me lately? Well, Ohio State's your national champion. I might put them 1. Georgia at 4 is kind of surprising to me. Like, if any team gets the benefit of the doubt, for me, it's Georgia. Kirby Smart has had 1 season in which they haven't won 10 or more games. And that was his first year. And I'm not talking about the COVID year. The COVID year, they didn't win 10 games, but they also only played 9 games that year because they played their conference schedule plus 1. Mm-hmm. And so they might've played 10. I can't remember exactly, but his first year, he didn't win 10 games, but he's won 10 games every single year since then, aside from the COVID year. So Kirby Smart, he's the guy that gets the benefit of the doubt with me, even though they might be turning over a lot, even though Gunnar Stockton looks like the Athens used car salesman one day. I'm still sold on Kirby Smart in Georgia, especially over a team like Penn State. Penn State, to me, feels like the hypiest team other than Texas.
Every year. Penn State is every year the hypiest team. Clemson should have got a lot more love. They should still deserve a lot more benefit of the doubt. But the good thing is, John, is that at least 2 teams in this top 10 will not finish ranked. The question is, who are they?
Oregon. Oh, I mean, finish ranked? Or they'll finish unranked?
Yes, they'll be unranked.
If I had to put it on a couple teams, I'd have to say Oregon and Miami. Like, those are the 2 teams that look like the least likely to stay ranked throughout the season in the top 10.
Interesting. I'm still debating on it. That's the one I'm going to try to figure out. I'm going to figure it out when the AP poll drops, because every year the AP poll drops, there's at least 2 teams on there that finish unranked. And so we'll see what happens on the football field.
Well, we don't have to worry about Oklahoma dropping from inside the top 10 to outside the top 25 because they didn't start inside the top 25. So it's a big prove it year for the Oklahoma Sooners. Only one way to go, and that's up. There's only one way to go for Texas, and that's down. So that'll be fun to watch. And we'll do it all season long here on Locked On Sooners. Make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams, and you can read my work covering the Sooners at SoonersWire.com. But also follow Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media profiles and platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.